Bernardo Osuna alongside Claudia Trejos here at the WBO Convention, and the man of the moment, the man, the myth, the legend, Terence Bud Crawford, the first ever 3-division undisputed champion, coming off of that big win over Canelo. Bud, we've known each other for a long time, but you're on another level now. What's life been like since September, that victory over Canelo?
Well, really, life has been the same, you know.
Has it though?
Really, like you got a parade, you come to Colombia, you get recognized, but life is the same.
Every year, every time I ever came to Colombia, I got recognized. There's not one place that I ever been to that I didn't get recognized.
That makes my heart sing.
You know, like it may be more now because people, you know, that wasn't a believer, I made a believer out of them. But for the most part, my day-to-day life is nothing new. It's nothing changed.
To me, it was a very heart-touching moment when you address your grandma, you address your mom, and you don't say, I made it. You say, we made it. How important was it for you to have your whole family, all your kids, everybody right there?
Oh, it's very important, you know, because without my mom building that toughness mentally, you know, installed in me, I wouldn't be able to do the things that I do with so much surrounding me happening. My grandma, the sweetest woman in the world, she always, you know, talked positive things into me, and to have my kids and the rest of my family there supporting me was you know, unmatched.
You know, everyone looks at the story that Mark Kriegel did with your mother, and a lot of people don't understand tough love. But obviously, you as a parent know that there's a certain way you got to treat each child, you know, and sometimes you got to be tough with one, you got to be sweet with the other, you got to coddle one, you got to be tough. Was your mom like that with everybody, or was she especially tough on you?
She was very special, well, different, I would say, with me. You know, I was her everything. I was the one that she prayed for. I was her only son. I was the youngest. I was a boy at that, so it was like, you know, running around the neighborhood and doing the most. My dad's not there. He's in the military. He come home every 6 months, twice a year. So she had to do what she had to do to make sure that her son didn't follow in the footsteps of, you know, like my older cousins and my friends and things like that. So, you know, even though I started branching off to those activities, she had to do what she had to do to try to keep me in order.
Keep you in line.
Yeah.
And, you know, just stay in your lane, and you did for so long. You've always stayed in your lane. And the one thing that I admire, it doesn't matter how big, how highly recognized you get, once you sit down with Bud, like we've had great chats at the pool, just chilling. How do you keep yourself so grounded?
I think it's an Omaha thing. I think coming from where I come from, everybody is just grounded. You know, it's just how I was raised, I guess. You know, humbleness, because I know how things can go. You know, you handle things how they're supposed to be handled. You do them as they're supposed to be done, and you know, you act accordingly.
I'm sorry, Bernie, but just to make emphasis on that spot about how you've always been able to just be you. You win the champion, you're the undisputed 168, you know, you're making history after boxing being the regulated sport, the oldest regulated sport. You become the first in history. And yet he's holding all of Canelo's titles. Your doors were closed, you're already outside of the press conference, you had already stepped out. You come back with your belts, because now they're his, to give him back to Canelo. Not only are you blessed with a great sports spirit, competitive spirit, but also with a very clear sense of what's right. What made you come back to give those? You could have waited, I don't know, a month, send them back, I don't know, give it to whomever.
Nah.
But you decided to give him back during the press conference.
No, I didn't know he was at the press conference, because when I left, I was looking for him. And then they told me that, because I had left the press conference, and they told me that he was walking into the press conference. And I turned around and I was just like, all right, I'm gonna go up there and give it to him, because I could have easily gave it to his teammates and things like that, but I said I want to personally give them to him and thank him for the opportunity to share the ring with him, you know, because he didn't have to choose me. I know there's a lot of money on the table for him to choose me, but at the same time, he still could have said no, you know, and I want to show him my appreciation, you know, for us both making history, because he couldn't do it without me, just like I couldn't do it without him.
Fair.
And to have that dancing partner like himself, I was blessed to have that moment with him.
You know, Bud, I know that the word respect means a lot to you, and it means a lot to your team. And I know that anything that Bud accomplishes, you bring your team with you, whether it be Bomac, whether it be Esau Dieguez, Red Spikes, Bernie. Like, what did it mean for you to bring all of them to the top? Because I know how hard everybody works to not only make you who you are, and how much you listen to them, and how much you guys trust in one another, and how little ego everybody in that building has to make sure that you can shine. Walk us through that dynamic, what it means to you.
It means everything, because I never did it by myself. I may have fought by myself, but the things that I had to do and overcome before the fight, you know, my team helped me get through those things, and preparation, my team, food, my team, like mentally, everything that surround Terence Crawford is surrounded by a core of team members that they select jobs that they do well and that make it easier for me to do what I do. So when I get up there, I don't have to worry about anything but fight. That's why it's so important that my team get their recognition that they rightfully deserve, because they do a tremendous job with making sure that all my business, everything is handled, you know, outside the ring, and all I got to do is worry about what's going on inside the ring.
You know, at this stage of your career, at your age, even with Canelo, like, it's hard for anybody to make it into the fight at 100%. You know, he's had surgery since then. You, after the fight, said, yeah, I had some stuff I was dealing with. How do you overcome that stuff on the biggest stage once again?
It's mental, you know. You gotta, you process it in your head, like, before you even go to camp. Like, you know, you pray for the best, but you know something gonna happen. But at the same time, you know what you signed up for. This is the hurt man business, and you know there's a very likable chance of something going wrong.
Oh Lord.
You know, you in a contact sport. So any contact sport, you gotta understand that there's many cases where something might go wrong. Some cases you can fight through it. Some cases you gotta postpone. You know, as we just seen with the Fundora and Keith Thurman fight. You know, some things you can, you know, overcome and be like, all right, you know, I'm gonna fight through the little pain, or it's not as bad as, you know, you would think when my adrenaline is going, but when I calm down and relax, that's when it's fucking with me. Some people get cortisone shots, you know, things like that. So we fighters, we go through a lot to put on a show and entertain the fans.
That's why I always have the utmost respect for anybody that's willing to get into the ring, risk it all for the entertainment of many. But let's talk about how, even though you say your life has changed, but when I look around, everybody's waiting for you to get up to take a picture. And we were speaking to Katie Taylor about how life changes and how all of a sudden you do not belong to you anymore. Now you belong to all these people that are really rooting for you. They look up to you. You're now their role model, their example. You are their idol. Does that play at all in your head now?
Not really, because I always looked at myself as a public figure and an idol. I always looked at myself as somebody that the little kids look up to, that adults look up to for motivation and things like that. So it's nothing new. I knew what the job intended for. Well, not intended. I knew what the job was when I signed up for it. You know, I knew what comes with it. So when it's my time to step up and be that role model to the little kids and put on for my state and show a better example for the youngsters. You know, I was prepared for it and I was ready for it because I understood what it meant to the younger generation.
There was that split second when they finally gave out the scorecards and Thomas Taylor was holding your hand. You go down on your knees. You're prepared for everything. But yet I saw that split second of, was it a mixture, I'm asking you, of relief, of just ascertaining that you actually made it? What was going on through your head that second when you go down on your knees and he's holding your hand?
No, it was just like, I knew I won hands down. But it was just a lot of emotions running through my body, you know, being that everybody thought that I couldn't do it. So many people was saying, there's never been a little guy beat the big guy, and I'm coming up in 2 weight classes, really 3, and there were so many doubters. There were so many people that talk bad about me. I ain't never fought nobody, and that's the narrative, you know. And everything that I've been through my whole career, just for this one night, can be tarnished, or I can get everything that I ever asked for in this one night. So knowing all that in one moment, that everything was about to be, you know, nothing they can say about it, nothing they can do about it, and I'm on top of the world, all the emotions just start flaring up in my body. Like, look how far you came, and you here now in this once in a lifetime moment, because you kept your head high and you just kept doing what you do. Not what somebody else do, you kept doing what you do and you did it your way. Because there's a lot of people that say, I should have signed with PBC, I should have did this, I should have took the 70-30 with Errol Spence, I should have did this, I should have did that. You know, but by me doing everything that I wanted to do my way, led me to this moment right here. And that's the top of the world.
So, Bud, when I look at you, and I've seen you accomplish your dreams one by one. I was there ringside to see you become an undisputed champion. That was one of your big accomplishments. Then, you know, to be a two-division undisputed champion, and it was now something unfathomable for so many people. And I always said, like, if somebody can do it, it's this guy, because I know what's in here. I've seen not only the inner strength, but the physical strength that you have. But to go out there and do it, and to have done it time and time and time again, what's left for Terence Crawford to accomplish in this sport?
Oof.
I don't know.
That to me, that's a big question, Bud, because it's going to determine what goes forward, because that's what's always driven you.
Anything that I do now will be like, it won't be like something that I really wanted to do. It would be something that I just want to add to my legacy, you know, because I don't think nothing get bigger than Canelo at this moment. You know, there's no fighter out there with the accolades, with the name recognition of Canelo Alvarez or Terence Crawford. So 2 guys fighting for legacy, I don't think there's no guy out there. You know, I've been professional since 2008. You know, I won my first title at 2014, and I've been champion ever since 2014. You know, and here we are in 2025. So when you look at Canelo, and when he became champion, and we both was, you know, active in the Floyd Mayweather days, and the Pacquiao days, and the Andre Ward days, and all these pound for pound, you know, greats that was before us, and we still doing it. For us to still be doing it at the top level, and us to fight each other, there's not another fighter out there with the caliber of accomplishments that I can actually say that I will get that recognition from.
What does it mean to you? Because I know what you always strive for. What does it mean for you for this era to now be the Terence Crawford era? To be recognized with that level.
time.
The Chavez, the De La Hoya, the Sugar Ray Leonards, the Tyson era, like
The Tito
everybody.
Trinidad's,
Now
yada, yada,
there's
yada.
an era that's going to be stamped with your name on it forever in history of boxing.
Well, it feels good, you know, especially being doubted for so many years, railroaded for so many years, talked bad about for so many years, and then to finally get the recognition, get the your just due, and some people giving you your flowers. It feels good, you know, because we put a lot into boxing. We put a lot of hard work, dedication, blood, sweat, tears. We risk our health to entertain everyone that's, you know, talking bad about us. So to finally get your just due, it's a good feeling. But it's kind of like a bittersweet feeling when it's at the tail end of your career.
You think you're at the tail end of your career? You feel like you're at the tail end of your career?
Well, feeling and being realistically speaking is different.
Okay.
You know, I feel great, but I'm 38. You know, that's one thing that, you know, we all gotta remind ourselves.
Fair.
Like Father Time, you know, it'll catch up on you sooner or later. You know, the things that I go through in camp now, when I was 30, I never went through it.
Yeah.
You know, so
The recovery period.
yeah, like I'm definitely putting more time in recovery than I ever did in my whole career. But at the same time, I feel like I'm at the peak of my career as well. So, yeah, you just go with it day by day.
You know, to know Terence Crawford is to know the family, man. The man who
Yes.
will not miss a birthday party, will not miss a
game.
game. You know what? So, what are, you know, you and I, the first thing I ever ask you is, what are the kids up to? What's going on with their lives right about now?
Man, same old, same old. My son getting ready for the wrestling season. My other son, he playing basketball and wrestling. And my other son, he's back wrestling, play a little bit basketball. So, you know, they still active in their sports.
And your daughter, the speedster, what's up?
She back training for track, getting ready for this season coming up in the summer. So she gonna be training this winter to make sure she, you know, is well prepared for this upcoming season. She made it to the nationals the last 2 years, but she gotta get a little faster, you know, work on her technique a little more, and maybe we can get her up there competing in the nationals.
I know one thing, they got the genes and they got the work ethic. Absolutely.
Exactly what I was going to say. Imagine you showing up to a training camp and your dad is Bud Crawford, who's dedicated his whole life, who understands what it takes, and you can't fall short.
Yeah.
You cannot fall short because that's your dad. He's put everything on the line, life, kids, family, just to make sure you're at the top of everything.
Yes.
Do they even ask you for pointers or just go, yeah, Dad, you don't know anything? You know, typical kids.
I have that argument with my son before.
Of course.
You know what I mean? But now he come back to me and want me to help him out and, you know, just do what I can do to help work him out and push him and things like that. Because my son, his thing was, you wasn't on my level. I'm better than you was at my age.
Oh. So
how can you tell me something? So,
Are you kidding me?
yeah. But he was right.
Oh.
Fair.
You know what I mean? So, you know, I look at him, I say, okay, you don't want to listen to me because you think, because you accomplished more than me in wrestling, that I don't know what I'm talking about. Okay, cool. So now he's seeing it and he's like, Dad, I need your help.
I love
And I'm like, no, you don't need my help. You know, I'm not your coach, remember? He like, I need your help. And so now, you know.
That is the best gift. I mean, you got all the accolades, all the belts, but to get your son come back to you and say, I need you.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm talking as a mom. So I love that. When my daughter comes up to me and says, that to me is the best gift.
Yeah. So now, you know what I mean, I'm putting him in position to get him where he need to be.
Now, look, I'm not going to retire you because only you can make that decision. But what I do know is that when you walk into a room, every fighter looks up to you. You've been a big brother to guys like Shakur Stevenson and a whole lot of other young fighters who look up to you, much like you looked up to, you know, Andre Ward and had that mentorship. What lies in the future for you? Do you see yourself training? Do you see yourself just mentoring other guys? What's in the future for Terence Crawford?
And that's an if and when.
Yeah, not for
now.
now, but because I know the respect that other folks have for you.
I'm always be a mentor to the youngsters. I feel like, that's my duty and that's my job to give them all the knowledge they need to be successful and have the best chance they possibly can. I find it hard when I look up to all the older generation fighters that don't give back in that aspect, that don't teach the youngsters the things that they was taught. A lot of them want to hold hostage to the knowledge. A lot of them want to kind of say, oh, well, this is what I had to go through. It's just part of the process. You got to go through this. Well, just because you went through it, that don't mean that the next generation got to go through it. I'm sorry that you had to go walk through the fire and you got railroaded and not treated fairly. But you shouldn't let this little fighter deal with the same things that you had to deal with. So it's definitely my duty to, keep the youngsters knowledgeable and let them know that there's other ways and they don't have to do certain things just because there's money on the table.
That's part of your greatness.
Yeah.
That's full of wisdom right there.
Absolutely.
And look at the crowd waiting for you. If we keep holding him, we're gonna get mobbed right now.
Absolutely.
So, but again, we're honored. We're so proud. Not that it was not expected, but it's always so good to be able to say you did it in your own terms, in your own way. And it's always a pleasure to have you and be able to share your knowledge, your wisdom, and your joy of life. Thank you.
Thank you.
There's that song, and may he rest in peace. There's only one Ricky Hatton, how the Brits used to sing it. There's only one Terence Crawford, man, and it's been a pleasure to be along for the ride.
Yes.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
All the best.